Hi, this is Tutor McP, and this is Idioms 288. Today we're actually going to cover two idioms, and they're both very similar in meaning, so that's why we're covering both at the same time. The first one is actually to the nines, but it's probably most oftenly heard as dressed to the nines, and the other one is dressed to kill. All right, let's continue. The idiom to the nines means to the greatest degree or to the greatest perfection. Okay. It tends to be most often used in the phrase dressed to the nines. There are several theories of the origin of this idiom, how it came about. One is that it came from the 99th Wiltshire Regiment, known as the Nines, so that therefore that's where the nines would come in. And they were famous for their stylish, high-class uniforms. Okay, so this is one possible theory. Others think it may be related to the 9 muses of arts and learning in classical mythology, okay, or possibly the 9 worthies, who consisted of distinguished historical figures that medieval scholars, scholars during the Middle Ages, medieval scholars, thought were worthy and noble, including such notable figures. So these are just some of them that more people would know, such as Julius Caesar is one, King Arthur, Alexander, probably Alexander the Great, Hector. Is that from Troy? Maybe, I don't know. But those are some of the more notable ones. So the 9 worthy. So those are 3 possible theories of where they think to the nines came from. Okay, let's continue. Let's go to the next idiom now. If someone, especially a woman, is dressed to kill, she is dressed in a very fashionable, attractive, and usually in sexy clothes. Could you use it with a man? Maybe, but when I think about it, maybe somebody like James Bond. Maybe James Bond was dressed to kill, when he went to the casino, to gamble. It would have to be something like that. I think it's much more often used for women, especially when they dress in a very high-class, sexy way. We might say dressed to kill. Okay. All right, let's continue. Okay. Some believe the origin of this term comes from Napoleon's Imperial Guard, so all the soldiers, who were an elite group in charge of protecting Napoleon. Back at that time, they were probably like his personal bodyguards. They were usually dressed in uniforms that looked like tuxedos, with tails, like when you have a tuxedo and you have that part that's hanging in the back. So they had tails, and everything was of the best quality. So a lot of people think dressed to kill came from that. So anybody that touched Napoleon would be killed, so they were dressed to kill. I guess that's the idea behind it. All right, anyway, and we give 3 examples here to cover the rest of this. So here's the first example. She was dressed to kill for a hot date. Maybe dressed very beautiful, maybe some sexy evening gown. We might say it that way. Or number 2 here, the royal family dressed to the nines for Prince Harry's wedding. Yeah, that would be a typical way. Or you could say all the celebrities will dress to the nines for the Academy Awards. Okay, anyway, I hope you got it. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you thought it was informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.